What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're back on Pokemon Sun and today's challenge will be, can I beat Pokemon Sun hardcore Nuzlocke using only shiny stone evolution Pokemon? So we're back in Alola and once again we're gonna do hardcore Nuzlocke. So let's run through the rules real quick. So I can only catch one Pokemon per route and they have to eventually evolve using a stone. Most of the time when you evolve them, they don't actually learn any more moves after you evolve them, so it's actually not very beneficial to evolve them with a stone. And as well, we have to catch them as a shiny form, so we can't do anything about that, and they overlap a lot, so a lot of Pokemon just overlaps and it's kind of annoying, but you got to deal with it. And as well, my Pokemon only has one life, so if they ever faint, they are gone, and there's a lot of fainting. You'll see why in a little bit. Yeah, if they ever faint, we have to box them and we have to throw them away. As well, there's gonna be a level cap. The level cap is based on each island kahuna, so the highest level on each island's kahuna's team is gonna be the level cap base. And as well, on top of that, we have to play on set mode. There are no items inside the battle, and you can use hell items, but you can't use bag items like potions and whatnot. That's to round it up. But as well, a fun rule, a part of my challenge video, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thank you so much for leaving a comment in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after your future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. This video is sponsored by the one and only Raid Shadow Legends. If you guys don't know yet, Raid is the ultimate action RPG game made by Polarium Games. My favorite part of Raid is that it's fast paced and has a diverse set of champions you can summon through the summoning tavern. I've actually completed the entire campaign this past week, which is crazy enough. I love this game. Infinite amount of challenge and rewards to keep you engaged. Is the perfect mobile game. That's why you should download Raid this month to take advantage of the free champion Wukong. Make sure to log on at least 7 different days between now and October 23rd to get your hands on Wukong. But besides that, what are you waiting for? Use my link in the description or scan the QR code on screen right now to get an awesome starter pack and get Wukong. You gotta admit, he's pretty cool. So to begin off, there's no starter Pokemon that's going to evolve to Stone Evolution, so we should be fine there, as I don't really want to shiny hunt for that at the moment. I have to continue through the first part of the game, beat the Pokemon School, which isn't too difficult, and then once we get into Overleveling City, that's going to be our first place for us to shiny hunt. So we're gonna actually shiny hunt in the grass right outside the Poke Center in Overleveling City. We're able to shiny hunt for a shiny Pichu eventually, which is not gonna evolve through a stone immediately, but it's gonna evolve into a Pichu, which you can evolve with a stone. And I'm really excited to use this one because I really love Raichu, especially a Alolan Raichu. So we're gonna capture this, add it to my team as my starter Pokemon, and then we're gonna make sure we kind of like, I could have raised its happiness and evolve it into a Pikachu, but I was kind of lazy today, so I just kind of stuck with a Pichu, and it worked out. I could level it up a little bit, and then I'm able to beat a Lima, and all we gotta do is beat a Lima. So once we beat a Lima, we're able to move out into Mele's cemetery, which is gonna be a new route for us. We want to shiny hunt in the nighttime, specifically for our next Pokemon, which is gonna be a Misdreavus. I don't think I've used a Misdreavus in my entire Nuzlocke career, so we're gonna actually shiny hunt for a Misdreavus, and eventually we're gonna find one. It evolves via Duststone, which is gonna be a long ways away, so it's gonna be interesting how to use this. I haven't used this since my like Diamond Pro days when I played Pearl in a Spanish mode, because I had the R4, which is like basically a legal version of Pokemon DS, where a bunch of games are just downloaded on a micro SD, and I didn't have like the actual Pokemon Pearl, so I had a Spanish version of Pokemon Pearl, and I'm actually Vietnamese, so I can't speak Spanish obviously, so it was a struggle, but I still played through the entire game. Anyways, from there we can go out into this totem fight against this Gumshoes, which we're able to start the battle off using my Misdreavus. It does have Bite, so lucky enough it doesn't use Bite that often, and we're able to beat down the Gumshoes using Echo Voice because it's powered up the more time you use it in a row, and we're able to beat down the first totem in the game, which we got very lucky. It still has Pursuit on the Young Goose as well, but from there we're also able to shiny hunt in Route 3 over here. Is it Route 3 or Route 2? I think it's Route 2. I forgot Growlithe were available in here, and 2 I saw the Professor face off against a Growlithe, showing off the Z move, so we're able to shiny hunt out here, and then eventually we're gonna find ourselves a shiny Growlithe, which has Intimidate. Good thing it doesn't have Flash Fire, as we're going to add it to our team real quick. We have 3 members on our team. We're going to add another one actually as we head into Mele Garden. And in here, there's Oricorios, which doesn't evolve into a Pokemon. We're going to shiny hunt out here for a shiny Cottonee, which is going to evolve via Sunstone, and we're going to add it to our team. Very nice. Our team is pretty well rounded, a bunch of different typings, which is great. So once we face off against Hala, we have a lot of good coverages. We're going to start the battle off against the Island Kahuna Hala using my Misdreavus because it's a ghost type. I really thought Sideway, I still don't understand Sideway. I think it's a random roll of damage. So Sideways does not do a lot of damage against the Mankey, and eventually the Pursuit is gonna scare me. I really should have just used Echo Voice or something else, but the Pursuit is gonna get me. I try to confuse right here, trying to avoid the Mankey's Pursuit. It's gonna use Focus Energy, and I'm hoping it's gonna hit itself. I try to switch it out, but it's gonna catch me with a Pursuit, break out of confusion, and knock me out with a crit. I mean, the crit didn't matter, it's gonna knock me out anyway. So I lose Mischievous already, so I go out to Colony. Colony's able to knock out the Mankey at least, and then Hollis can go out to his Makuhita, which I'm able to Leech Seed and then Stun Spore, which I'm able to regain my HP against, which is very nice. Then I'm gonna switch out to my Pichu because I wanted to guaranteed knock out this Makuhita. So I'm getting Nasty Spot 3 times to get max special attack boost, and I'm gonna knock out his Makuhita. From there, he's gonna switch out to his Crab Brawler. I'm at +6. I'm at the level cap. I'm pretty sure Thundershock should kill. It doesn't kill the Crab Brawler, but I got paralyzed on him. But he breaks through paralysis and knocks me out with a Z move. I'm like, what is the point of this? I got +6. It doesn't even knock out the Crab Brawler. I lose 2 Pokemon from the start. I sent out my Growlithe next to beat Hala, but already 2 Pokemon dead. It's kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie. So from there, we're gonna face off against Dexio, and at least we're gonna beat this trainer now, as we're gonna move out into Route 4, where we're gonna shiny hunt for our next Pokemon, which is gonna be a shiny Eevee. Now Eevee evolves to a bunch of different Pokemon. We're gonna catch this Eevee, add it to my team, and if for some reason I start playing with it to raise its like friendship, and I didn't really, you'll see why in a little bit, why this is a stupid move. I'm gonna beat my rival in the ranch at least, and then move out and face off against this Wishy-Washy Totem. Lucky enough for us, we kept Pokemon that were good enough against the Totem fight, so we're able to face off against this Water Trial Wishy-Washy. We're able to Leech Seed both the Wishy-Washys, and also just chip it down. Eventually, we're gonna stall him out because he doesn't do enough damage to me, and we're able to beat down both Wishy-Washys without too much trouble because Colony's pretty tanky as always. And from there, once we beat this trial, I evolved the Eevee into a Sylveon, and most of you guys be like, "Whoa, that's not a stone evolution, is it?" And I'm like, well, at the time I thought it was. So Sylveon's gonna be on my team, which is kind of stupid. You'll see why in a little bit. I recognize it later on, so you guys don't have to worry. I don't use them in any important fight. But it's just a little stupid how I wasted my time to get a Sylveon. I think because I lost my Mischievous and Pichu so early, I thought I was gonna need like the best Pokemon possible, and I forgot Sylveon wasn't a stone evolution. So that's kind of stupid on my part. But from there, we actually go back. We can go out into the Brooklyn Hills and start shiny hunting in the water here. Really annoying. It doesn't give us a lot of encounters right away, so we have to spend a lot of time just shiny hunting. Eventually, we're gonna find ourselves a shiny Poliwag, which we're gonna add to our team, and that will be our next Pokemon. So we're going to evolve Poliwag into a Poliwhirl as we face off against the Fire Trial. We also get Scald from the Brooklyn Hill, so we're able to clear through the Fire Pokemon in here pretty easily. We beat down the Marowak and also the Magmar, and then we're going to face off against the Totem Salazzle, which is going to go down to 2 Scalds, which isn't too difficult. We get hit with a chunky Flame Burst, but that shouldn't really matter as we're able to knock out the Salazzle and also knock out the Salandit, which we're able to beat pretty easily. From there, we're going to move out into the Grass Totem, where we're going to face off against this Totem Lurantis using my Growlithe. Now Growlithe has a new move called Flame Charge, which boosts my speed. It actually doesn't do enough, and I actually have to get 2 Flame Charges up to outspeed Lurantis, which is kind of funny. Eventually, the cast form that the Lurantis SOS summon actually sets up Sun for us, so we're able to 2-shot the Lurantis with my Flame Charge as we're able to knock out the Totem pretty easily, and then bite down the cast form. I actually almost lose here because it actually transformed back into a normal type, and then the Headbutt boost actually almost knocks me out, so that would have been really bad. But we're able to beat down the cast form, finish the trial, and then from here, this is when I recognize that Sylveon is not a stone evolution. I get a really good nature on it too. I got a modest nature. I'm like, oh my god, this would have been perfect. But I recognized, I was like, what stone did I use for Sylveon? But that was kind of stupid. So I had to release Sylveon and then waste my time because I spent all the time fighting Eevee, and I can't get him back because that's just my fault. So I decided to disqualify myself for that. Added a def on that as well, and Sylveon's gone from my team. I'm sorry for breaking the rules. I think it's worse off for me because I lose a Pokemon. Also, got a def on a def counter because of it. From there, we're able to buy a bunch of evolutionary stones finally. We're able to evolve my Poliwhirl into a Poliwrath, which is water and fighting. Also, my Growlithe into an Arcanine. And then we can move back out into the Seaward Cave or Kale's Bay, and we're able to start fishing out here. We're going to fish for a little bit. You want to fish in the bubbling area specifically because that will give us like a 20% encounter rate for a shelter, and that's the Pokemon we're going to shiny hunt for. It takes a little bit, but we're eventually able to find ourselves a shiny shelter out in the wild, which is really nice. We're going to add it to our team and then evolve it into a Cloyster, which kind of sucks because it doesn't get any good moves until later on. But from there, we just need a bunch of Pokemon as we face off against Olivia. Olivia's gonna be the next kahuna in the game. We're gonna start the battle off against her using the one and only Cloyster. Cloyster's gonna use Smart Strike against the Nose Pass, and I get paralyzed, which is annoying, but 3 shots into him would knock out the Nose Pass. As her next Pokemon will be a Lycanroc. I'm gonna switch out into my Poliwrath because it's part fighting and can survive a Continental Crush. I survived it pretty easily, and then go for 2 Scalds against the Lycanroc to knock him out. And then her next Pokemon will be a Boldore, which we knock out in 2 shots, as we're able to beat down Olivia pretty easily, which is very nice. From there, we can go out to Hano Beach, which is right outside of the resort. We can go into these sand piles because you're able to find ourselves a Sandygast or a Staryu. Obviously, we can go for Staryus. We could have got Staryu earlier, but it was a 1% encounter rate while fishing near the volcano, so I decided just to wait off on it. We got a shiny hunt in the beach area to find ourselves a shiny Staryu, which is, I really love the color scheme of it. I don't really like it when it evolves because I really like this color scheme, but we're going to catch ourselves a shiny Staryu, which is really nice. And from there, we're going to evolve it, obviously, and then go into the Lucky Trial in the game. We're going to face up against the Totem Vikavolt using my Arcanine, which shouldn't be too difficult, even though I have kind of weak moves, Fire Fang and Flame Charge. We're still able to knock out the Vikavolt pretty easily, and then knock out the Charge Bug as we're able to clear through the Lucky Trial in the game. And then from there, we're going to go out into Blush Mountain, get ourselves the Sunstone, evolve Arcanine into a Whimsicott finally, and we have 5 members ready to go. Our next member, we're going to go into the Tapu Village and then start shiny hunting in the grass over here. It's pretty rare. I barely found any Vulpixes, but eventually we're going to find ourselves a shiny Vulpix, which this is the specific reason why we're playing on Sun, because we can get Vulpix. We're going to add the Vulpix onto my team, and then we're going to move on. We're going to move on to the Ghost Totem. In the game, we're going to face up against the Totem Mimikyu. We're going to start the battle off against Mimikyu using my Arcanine. Arcanine is able to lower the attack stat of the Mimikyu, which is really nice, but Shadow Claw still does a lot of damage for Intimidate. I'm able to break the disguise and switch out. I switched out into my Colony, which is able to get a Leech Seed off, but still gets put down to low HP. I'm also being put to sleep, so I gotta switch back into my Arcanine to lower the attack stat again. I'm able to avoid some damage, which is nice. I get paralyzed through a Blink, which is kind of annoying, but I can still attack the Mimikyu eventually. There we go. Fire Fang almost knocks out the Mimikyu, and I'm kind of scared to go out to anyone else, so I'm just gonna stay in with my Arcanine as I'm eventually able to knock out the Mimikyu using a Fire Fang. The Haunter over here almost knocks me out with Nightshade, which got kind of scary. I don't know why I risked it, but I'm able to knock out the Haunter with a Fire Fang as we're ready to clear through the Ghost Totem in the game. From there, we're going to get the Ice Stone and evolve our Vulpix into an Alolan Ninetales, which is nice. From there, we're going to face up against Guzma, and Guzma is pretty easy. We have Rock Tomb as our main move on my Poliwrath, which will knock out Guzma, and then we're going to face off against the next Island Kahuna, which is going to be Nanu. Nanu is going to be the Dark type Kahuna in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Ninetales against Sableye. He's going to fake me out like all Sableys do, but I'm able to go for a Dazzling Gleam. It doesn't one-shot him? Crazy. But eventually I'm able to knock out his Sableye using my Ninetales. I do take a chunk of damage, and then from there he's going to switch out into his Alolan Persian, which is going to fake out me, crit me, and then Power Gem me. I was overconfident that I was going to survive a Power Gem, but I don't survive it pretty well. I survived with 10 HP left, but I survived it at least, and I'm able to one-shot the Persian and knock him out. His next Pokemon will be a Krokorok, which I'm going to switch out my Ninetales into my Poliwrath, which will barely survive an Earthquake. And I'm really hoping I break through the Swagger, as I'm able to break through it, Scald to one-shot the Krokorok with a Mystic Water on me. So we're able to beat down Nanu and get our next Island Kahuna, or Grand Trial, completed. From there, we can go out into the Aether Foundation and then clear through all the members in here pretty easily. We're also going to face up against Guzma and Lusamine, which are... Lusamine's a little harder. Guzma isn't too difficult since I have a Fire type on my team. We're able to beat down Lusamine without losing a Pokemon and then move out into Seafolk Village. We're able to get a bunch of items in here from Seafolk Village. We're able to get a bunch of TMs, which will be useful later on. And then we're also going to face off against the final Island Kahuna in the game. We're going to face off against Hapu. Hapu is going to be the ground type Kahuna, and we're going to start the battle off against her using my Starmie against her Dugtrio. Now her Dugtrio, surprisingly, is faster than me. It's going to start a Sandstorm. I made a Scald and knock him out. Her next Pokemon will be a Mudsdale, which I was surprised it actually survived a Scald. I was like, what? I have a Mystic Water on as well. But lucky enough, I burned a Mudsdale, but then it goes for a Z move, and with the burn, I barely survived it. So without a burn, it could have killed 2 Starmie. So I'm very lucky that I'm able to knock out the Mudsdale. So from there, she's going to switch out into her Flygon. I switched out into my Ninetales, and for some reason, she went for Earth Power and lowers my special defense, and I was overconfident that I could survive it again. I thought Ninetales' special defense was unmatched. It was matched. It Earth Powering once again. I'm able to survive it with 12 HP, and lucky enough, I'm able to Ice Beam and knock out the Flygon, and the Sandstorm subsided just on the right turn. I'm like, ooh, I'm really lucky. I got very lucky back-to-back fights, but I'm gonna switch out into my Whimsicott against her Gastrodon, and unfortunately Whimsicott's accuracy actually dropped twice, so I can't actually hit him with a Giga Drain. So eventually I had to switch out into my Cloyster to eventually knock out the Gastrodon, and we're able to beat down the Gastrodon at least. And then from there we're able to beat down Hapu, and we're gonna move out, finish the last grand trial, and face up against the final totem in the game. We're gonna face up against Totem Como, which we're gonna start off with my Ninetales. Does not end up killing the Como. It lives with 1 HP. I get hit with a fat flash cannon, and then it's gonna summon a Scissor. I'm like, I'm definitely not gonna stay in here. This Ninetale is blessed because I can't lose this thing. This thing's been surviving every single move. I switch out to my Arcanine, which would knock out the Como and also the Scissor for us, and without taking too much damage. So we're gonna clear through the final totem in the game without losing a Pokemon again. And then from there we're gonna face off against Lusamine. Lusamine is kind of a hard fight. We're gonna start the battle off against Lusamine. Clefable using my Cloyster. Cloyster's only job here is to do some chip damage against Clefable. I know I could survive 1 Moonblast, which I barely do with a crit, so that was bad planning. I gotta switch out to my Arcanine. Lucky enough, Arcanine is able to knock out the Clefable, so nothing too difficult here, which is nice. From there, she can switch out into her Milotic, which my Whimsicott would take care of really easily. From there, she can switch out into her Mismagius, which I gotta switch back out into my Ninetales. Ninetales is able to knock out the Mismagius for us. Takes a little bit because the Bane split back and forth. Her next Pokemon will be a Lilligant, which I go out into my Arcanine. Arcanine is barely able to survive a Petal Dance. This thing is so strong with Petal Dances, but we're able to knock him out with our Fire Fang. And then from there, her next Pokemon will be a Beware, which I gotta switch out into. I switch out to my Whimsicott, which does not take a takedown pretty easily. I go out to my Poliwrath. Lucky enough, Poliwrath is able to survive and land a Hypnosis before it knocks me out. That could have been really bad. I go for a Scald and then switch out to my Starmie to get a Psychic, knock out a Beware, and we got very lucky against Lusamine. That thing, her Pokemon are very scary with the boost. From there, we're able to beat down Lusamine and then face off against Gladion, beat down Gladion and also Howl. 2 easy fights back to back, so we don't have to worry about that. From there, we're gonna move out into the Elite Four and then start our Elite Four challenge against the final 4 members, 5 members including the champion. We're gonna start the battle off against our first Elite Four member, Hala, using, well, this is our get back. Hala took down 2 of my Pokemon early on. We're gonna face off against Hala, start the battle off using my Whimsicott against his Hariyama, which I'm gonna go for a Moonblast, which almost knocks him out, as in doesn't come close at all. But I'm able to go for 2 Moonblasts to knock out the Hariyama. Then his next Pokemon will be a Crabominable, which I know I can switch out into my Arcanine to take it, and also lower his attack with Intimidate. I go for a Fire Fang, and I'm like, okay, 2 will knock him out. He goes for a close combat, knocks me out with a crit. A crit knocks me out. Oh my god. I lose a really good member of my team, Arcanine. So I gotta switch out into my Ninetales. Ninetales is able to Dazzling Gleam and knock out the Crabominable. And then from there, he can switch out to his Primate. I'm able to go for a Dazzling Gleam, survive a Cross Chop, and knock out the Primate. His next Pokemon will be a Beware, and I got very lucky with a crit with a Dazzling Gleam. I really wish I had Moonblast, but I couldn't get it through a Heart Scale. His final Pokemon is a Poliwrath, which I'm going to switch out into my Whimsicott. Whimsicott is able to take a submission pretty well, and then Giga Drain against the Poliwrath to knock him out eventually. As we're ready to beat down Hala with, 1 death. Could be worse, I guess. From there, we're going to face off against Olivia next. Olivia's going to be the second Elite Four member in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Whimsicott. Whimsicott is able to Giga Drain into the Relicanth and knock her out in 1 shot. From there, she's going to switch out into her Lycanroc, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I can survive a Continental Crush, so I'm just going to Giga Drain twice into her, and I survive a Continental Crush pretty easily. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm down to low HP, but I was pretty certain Whimsicott could survive, as I'm able to knock out the Lycanroc with 2 Giga Drains. Her next Pokemon will be a Carbink, which I could have stayed in a Giga Drain, but I switched out to my Starmie for some reason, and now Starmie's kind of annoyed. It gets the special attack lower, so I gotta switch out into my Whimsicott now. I'm able to Leech Seed into the Carbink, get my HP back up basically, just through the Carbink, which is nice. From there, we're able to beat down the Carbink. Her next Pokemon will be a Probopass, which I go out into my Poliwrath. Poliwrath's able to get some Bodos off eventually. There we go. And then 2-shot into the Probopass. Her final Pokemon will be a Golem, which I take a Thunder Punch and then get confused because I got the wrong berry on. So I gotta switch out my Poliwrath. I switch out my Poliwrath into my Whimsicott. And I know Whimsicott could take any hits from this Golem, so we're able to just Giga Drain, 2-shot into the Golem, as we're able to beat down Olivia and, yeah, not lose a Pokemon for once. From there, we're going to actually skip ahead. We're going to face up against Kahili next. Kahili's going to be the Flying type Elite Four member in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Shell Smashing Cloyster. We got 1 Shell Smash in front of her and then Icicle Spear, which, you know what, it wasn't the right play because it doesn't do enough damage. Also, Cloyster only wants to hit twice, so I go for a second Shell Smash, and again, he only hits twice, as I'm unable to knock out a Skarmory. It almost knocks me out with a Steel Wing, and then it raises his defense, but lucky enough, Kahili's gonna heal up the Skarmory, as we're able to just beat down the Skarmory. We need 3 hits for once, And finally, on the third attempt, it hits more than twice. As we're able to beat down the Skarmory, we're able to also beat down the Manabus with 3 hits. And then from there, her next Pokemon will be a Toucannon. I'm able to knock him out in 2 hits. And then her next Pokemon after that will be an Oricorio. It's part Fire type, but it's also Flying type, so we're able to just beat it down with 2 Icicle Spears. And our final Pokemon will be a Crobat. I outspeed, Icicle Spear would knock him out in 2. As we're able to beat down Kahili. We got very lucky at the end. Actually, we got unlucky. 3 in a row with only 2. From the start, the Skarmory almost knocks me out. Super annoying. But anyways, from there we're going to face off against Accelera, the Ghost type Leaf member in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Ninetales against her Sableye. Now she can go for a Fake Out and then Confuse Ray me. I'm hoping I could just stay in and just go for Nasty Plots. And then I'm actually pretty certain that the Sableye can't do too much to me. So I'm just going to keep going for Nasty Plot until I break out of Confusion. And it works out as I break out the second turn I got it. So I'm at +6 now. I take a Shadow Claw and I'm able to go for Dazzling Gleam and knock out the Sableye. Her next Pokemon after that will be a Delmise. I outspeed, knock him out. And then for some reason after that I was like, oh, Frostlass might not be able to kill me since she's not sending him out. She sends out her Power Send next. I'm able to one-shot it with Ice Beam. And then her next Pokemon after that will be a Frostlass. She actually outspeeds me and Shadow Ball me. She knocks me down to 6 HP. I'm like, if I didn't get the level up, that could have been really bad. And also, I don't know why she didn't send that out earlier. But we were able to knock out the Frostlass, luckily, and also knock out the Drifblim. As we're able to beat down Accelera and finish off the Elite Four with, again, my Ninetales being very lucky. From there, we're going to face off against Professor Kukui, which is going to be the champion in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Cloyster. He goes for Stone Edge, which I really thought he's going to just let me get a free Shell Smash. He didn't, so I'm going to go for a Shell Smash in front of him. At least he doesn't set up rocks, so I guess that's a silver lining. I'm going to go for a Smart Strike and knock out the Lightning Rock. I thought he's going to switch out to his Magnezone next, but he switched out to his Incineroar. And I'm like, well, I don't, hopefully I could flinch him. I do flinch him. Surprisingly, I flinched him 3 times in a row. So that knocks him down to red HP. He's forced to actually heal up again. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for Icicle Crash. It doesn't flinch him on the 5th hit, but he's going to actually knock me down with a Cross Chop to 6 HP, which I survived somehow. I'm able to Icicle Crash and then flinch him. And I'm like, wait a second, I knock out his Incineroar with just my Cloyster Icicle Crashing with flinching him. That's kind of annoying. From his next Pokemon will be a Magnezone, which I go for an Icicle Crash, and it flinches him again. I'm like, oh my god, I'm bringing all the luck. I mean, this Icicle Crash once again to knock him down to half HP. He's going to knock out my Cloyster with a Thunderbolt, which is fine. I go out to my Poliwrath, which has Bodos. I'm into Bodos and knock out the Magnezone, which is nice. From there, his next Pokemon will be a Braviary, which I don't have a really good Pokemon. I switched out into my Starmie, and I'm hoping I get a Skull Burn on him, which I do not have a Skull Burn in me. He Brave Birds and almost knocks me out. Then it's getting knocked out my Starmie, which is unfortunate. I go out to my Ninetales at least. Ninetales is able to go for an Ice Beam, but unfortunately he outspeeds me, knocks me down to low HP. I'm able to knock out his Braviary, but his next Pokemon after that will be a Snorlax. So I go out into my Poliwrath. I take a Heavy Slam pretty easily, and lucky enough, I'm able to land a Hypnosis against the Snorlax. And then from there, I could go for Brick Breaks. One Brick Break would knock him down to half HP, as the second one would knock him out as he stays asleep. And his final Pokemon somehow will be a Ninetales, which I stay in. I go for Bodos to lower his speed, and then I'm going to switch out immediately into my Whimsicott. I take a Dazzling Gleam, and then hoping that Moonblast would lower his special attack so I could just knock him out. He goes for Blizzard and knocks me out, which is unfortunate, but that's fine. I have 2 more Pokemon in the back. I should be able to do this. I go out into my Ninetales, as a Dazzling Gleam might not kill him, so I go for a Nasty Plot, and I'm hoping I can survive his, which I do pretty easily. I survive the Dazzling Gleam and then knock him out with my Dazzling Gleam, as we're able to beat down Professor Kukui, and we ended up our session with 7 deaths. 6 deaths technically, 1 death because I'm an idiot and I evolved Eevee into a Sylveon, but we'll definitely take that, as this was actually a very difficult challenge. And I really thought the Pokemon I got were going to be really good and I was going to be able to sweep my way through, but I got very lucky towards the end against Lusamine, against Professor Kukui, especially against Professor Kukui. I think I would have been able to still knock out his Incineroar with my Poliwrath with Hypnosis, but it would have been on Hypnosis landing. But yeah, that would have been very close if I didn't get that incredible luck to knock out the Incineroar. But that will be it for me today. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name is Alpha, and I hope you guys all have a great day, and I'm out. Peace.